Some of my keen-eyed viewers might have noticed in a video on the 993 RWB that I said at some point that I knew I screwed up on another build. Well, this is what I was talking about. I cut the front half of the roll cage off, so I did not have anything for the dashboard to be mounted to, so I had to figure out a way to do that without the front half of the cage. Basically what I did is I just marked out where I had the cage with the dashboard in it on the side panels, and then glued some pieces of styrene to the dashboard and to the side panel to create a sort of hinge or bed for those pieces to sit in and have the dashboard in the proper position. With that small modification done to the dashboard, I could move on to the floor pan and some flocking. I applied some Humbrol enamel flat black paint. This takes a really long time to dry and it works really good as a glue for the flocking. So I just apply that generously on the space I want to be flocked and then flock on top of it. While all those flocked pieces got put aside to dry off for a fair amount, I moved on to adding a second and in some cases a third color to most of the pieces for the interior, just to detail them out a bit more and make them look the way they should. For painting clear parts like the taillights and most indicators, I use Tamiya Clear Red, Orange, or Tamiya Clear Smoke. Now I apply this in a couple of thin layers to get the coverage right, mostly about 3 to 4 layers, waiting about 20 minutes to an hour in between coats, and then just setting it aside for a couple of days to properly dry off. With that done for now, I moved on to gluing in some of the clear parts like the rear and side windows, and then moved on to some other components. While that glue had some time to set up, I moved on to assembling some of the other components like the chassis, some of the suspension and interior components. This was all glued with Zappa Gap medium CA glue, It works really quick, really well, and does not really affect the painted areas as long as you don't apply too much. Now, I forgot to do some of the detailing on the engine while I was looking through the instructions I noticed, so I added some more colors to the engine to make it a bit more than just one big block of silver stuff. Just a quick side note, I am now gluing all the chassis interior and all other components together, but I will, once the chassis is fitted into the body in its final position, cut these back off again to get them correctly spaced with the wheels that I will be adding. But in order to do that, I obviously need to have the chassis and body together to align them properly. So first off, I'm just going to glue these in, and later on just going to cut them, glue them, shape them a bit more so that the wheels have the proper offset. As some of you might know by now, this kit only comes with one seat. Now, luckily, Scale Production reproduces these seats, sells them as sets of 2 or just the one seat. I got one as I already had the other to complete the pair. With most of the interior now assembled, I could move on to doing the final decals on the dashboard, assemble it, and put it in place. Now, I cut off the original door handle on this as I wanted to replace it with a sort of strap like you see on a lot of the real cars. The GT3 RS, if you buy that new, has that from factory. And I kind of wanted to simulate that with a piece of seat belt because I kind of think it looks a lot cooler than just having a plastic door handle like the regular versions.